This video is not based on a true story. No drivers or trucks were harmed in the making of this video. Driving with John is coming through! Did you hear that? I don't know what that was. Welcome to Driving with John. Sorry about the beginning there, I was having some fun. So, that's just strange how I was driving the truck and I was walking down the middle of the road. I don't know how that happened, but so I just was playing around with my editing software, and I came up with that, and I thought it was rather funny, so I went ahead and made a video out of it. Alright, this video is kind of weird as it is. It started out weird, but I just want to let you know I wasn't hurt, and neither was the truck in the making of this video, and neither was the pillow, by the way. The pillow wasn't hurt either, so alright. So on a different note, today's point of conversation will be about, I don't know. What should it be about? What do you want to talk about today? I don't know. I'll tell you what, one thing, I stubbed my toe really bad, so I had to call a tow truck. That was one of my kid jokes when I was a kid. I used to love that joke. I used to tell that joke all the time. So, as you can tell, I'm in a really goofy, silly mood today. Let's talk about me. Because, you know, I have a lot of subscribers that don't really know me. I have some that do, but I just thought I'd give a little biography of myself so that everybody knows who I am and where I came from. So, I was born in Colorado, and my dad was in the military, so we moved all over the country and Germany also. Then I grew up in a small town called Canton, Pennsylvania. No one's ever heard of it. Don't feel bad. Lived there until I was 19-ish, 20-ish. Kind of jumped around a couple places. Then I eventually moved down to Harrisburg. Lived there for, say, I don't know, 3-4 years. And in that time I met my wife. We had a short stint. We moved back to Canton together. We got married. We moved back to Harrisburg. We got married, and we stayed in the Harrisburg area most of the rest of the time until about 10 years ago, and 12 years ago. We moved to Texas. Lived in Texas for a couple years, and then back to Canton, and then to Florida finally, where we've lived for the last 10 years. So, I'm not a real complex guy. I pretty much say what's on my mind, even if it's wrong sometimes, and I don't like normal conversations. I guess I'll say I like to be argumentative. Even if I know I'm wrong, I'll argue with you just to get your full point out, so I can understand where you're coming from. It's kind of my personality. It's kind of abrasive to some people. Some people it's not abrasive to, but that's just kind of who I am. So, a lot of times people think I'm arguing with them because I disagree with them, but a lot of times I don't. A lot of times I argue because, honestly, I want to know what you think, and you're not going to tell me what you think unless I argue with you. Not argue, but debate. I'll call it debate. I like to debate. Didn't do it in school, should have. I really enjoy it. It actually energizes me. Most people get tired and annoyed from it. I have to be in the right mood, though. First thing in the morning, not a good time to debate. Late at night, probably not a good time to debate. If I haven't eaten, probably not a good time to debate. Yes, I get kind of moody sometimes. So, That's basically in a nutshell who I am as a personal level. As a career level, I was a carpenter's apprentice. Was in the military for a very, 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 very short period of time. From there, I worked at amusement parks. In Allentown, Pennsylvania, a place called Dorney Park. From there, I went into a business. It was kind of a shady business. They sell stuff door to door, like trinkets and toys and books and stuff. I learned a lot of people skills there, which I don't use anymore, so it's kind of obsolete at this point. But for a while, they were good. From there, I went into where did I go from there? Worked for a company called Schwann's Ice Cream. Drove one of their trucks and delivered. From there, I went into vending, filling vending machines. I spent a lot of years filling vending machines, and didn't really, it didn't feel important to me, but I did it because it made me money. And, honestly, people at lunches while they're at work, they need something to eat. So I guess that's why I did it, but it was more for the money. Ended up becoming a manager there, worked a lot of hours, way too many hours for how much I was getting paid. From there, I moved down to Texas with vending also. Eventually left that job. We'll just say the district manager accused me of lying about my son having a broken arm, and that started crumbling the work relationship we had, and then it just got to the point where we couldn't work together anymore. From there, we went back up to Pennsylvania, and I worked for another carpenter / construction for a little while. Then we moved to and I went back into vending. We moved to Harrisburg, and once we moved to Harrisburg, I got out of vending and went into retail. Worked at Target for a few years. Also worked at Target when we moved to Florida. I transferred down. Worked a paint delivery company. I missed in there back when I got out of high school. I did go to school to be a police officer for a while. That didn't pan out. Took the state test in New York 3 times. Missed it by 1%, 1.5%, and then I was like on the standby list if anybody dropped out, and no one dropped out, so I didn't get called. After 3 attempts, I kind of gave up on it. Okay, but fast forward back to where I was. In Florida, I worked for a paint company. And then I went into, I wanted to do something more with my life. It seemed like I was jumping around. I didn't have a direction. So I decided I was in Florida. Air conditioning was the place to be. Well, if you know anything about me, I'm not mechanically minded. But I studied hard, and I got really good grades. Ended up graduating, I think, with a 3.8 grade average, which actually was above a 4.0 until my last term. In my last term, there were some personal issues that came up, and I missed some school, and it caused some problems. So, but still, 3.8, not too shabby. Then from there, I worked for an air conditioning company doing sales for a while. That's where my people skills kind of came in, and I helped build up the company, and it was doing good, and ended up leaving there and going to another company to do sales. That company was kind of more of a scam company. They were charging 2 and 3 times what they should have been charging, and they expected their salespeople to lie to people to get it done. Like, yeah, your AC needs replaced when it really only needs like a $5 part. I can't do that. I'm ethically not capable of doing that kind of thing. So I didn't last very long there either. I realized that air conditioning wasn't for me, and we moved up to Central Florida, where we live now. And my wife and I, my wife started working with me in Target, and we really enjoyed that. So when we moved up here, Target was supposed to transfer us, they didn't. So we ended up going to Walmart, and we worked together at Walmart for about 2.5 years. I loved working with my wife. Imagine working with a coworker that you know inside and out, that knows what you're thinking when you're thinking it, and you're both extremely hard workers. It was awesome. Like, I didn't have to wonder what she was doing. I knew what she was doing. She knew what I was doing. We knew how to get our job done. We worked together. It was awesome. You know, most people say they can't work with their wife, but I loved it, and I can't wait until I get back to a day where I can do that again. And then from there, there's another personal situation that came up, and we had to leave Walmart, and I wanted to go into a career instead of a job, and I needed to make a lot of money, and truck driving came up through a friend of mine. So my wife and I talked about it, and we decided that we were going to go ahead and try that, and we did it, and I'm happy we did, because I like truck driving a lot, and money wise it does pretty good. It's not as good as it used to be, but it does pretty good, and I get to be home every 11 days and spend 3-4 days at home, and I have a guaranteed pay, so if I don't get miles I still get paid. I'm a dedicated driver, so that's kind of a little bit about me. I grew up in a household that had 3 sisters and then me, and they were all much older. By the time I was in my teen years, they had all moved out, so I was pretty much an only child at that point. They all say I was spoiled, and don't tell them I was. Don't tell them, but I'm going to admit to you, I was very spoiled. Shh, don't tell them I told you though. And but I had a good teenage years. My parents, I won't say great teenage years, but my parents weren't very strict, so I got away with a lot. Probably more than I should have. Lucky I didn't mess up my life in there. So that's it about personal. I can't think of anything else. So that's a little bit about me. So now when you're watching, you know where some of the stuff comes from, my background, and you know where some of it doesn't come from. Some of it just comes from my head because I'm crazy. Hey, thanks for sticking around and watching this far in the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you go over there and hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell so you know when I post. And for you that just subscribed, and for all my other subscribers, and even if you didn't hit that subscribe button, go over there. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Give me a thumbs down if you don't. Just lets me know what everybody thinks. All right? I appreciate it. To all my truck driving buddies out there, keep those tires turning, stay right side up, and keep making the money. You'll see me on the road on my next video. Bye. Some of what I just said may be true. Some of it may be based on a not true story. You will never know.